Oh yes, one more. Blinds. One here. Perfect. Which way is better? Sometimes I get confused as to whether this way is better or this way is better. Hmm? Chai? Pile do kut. Still very hot. एक गाड़ी गया एक गाड़ी आया जब सारे सब यहाँ पे सब सिस्टर्स बाकी अच्छा ओके 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 हम्म मैं क्या कि we can remove this and then Jack can come to the front. Yeah. Jack, we can come to the front. You can like put 2 layers and sit on it.
2 layers.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then you can, yes, adjust in the middle.
Is okay.
enough.
Right. Sister Joanne, if you want, you can sit here. Or you can just push it so that you're not trapped. So the chi is blocked. Okay. Okay, yeah. All right now. So we may have one more sister coming, right? Yes. So everybody make yourselves comfortable. Yeah, you can put triple also, no problem. Got extra cushion if you, yeah. Okay. So shall we begin? Okay. So Namo Buddhaya, Tashi Dele, and good evening. So my name is Karma Tashi Choedron. For those of you who may not know me, so I would like to welcome you all to our 14th meditation session. So we have been running this meditation session since January this year. It's a new endeavor in order to help people who are busy, who cannot come for meditation classes or too shy to attend meditation classes, or just want to listen while cooking, cleaning, and doing many other things. So this is a chill way of learning, right? So, and I also would like to extend warmest uh, greetings for Wesak. So I have not actually formally wished anyone this year because there's too many activities. So I thought that I will reserve my Wesak wishes for my YouTube channel, right? And also for my friends on Facebook. So today we are going to do meditation on the 7 factors of enlightenment. Everything okay? Yeah. So the seven factors of enlightenment is very famous from the Pali Sutras, yeah, Tripitaka. So it actually comes from the Saṁyutta Nikaya, right? Chapter 46. And in that chapter, we have many suttas that teach about the seven factors of enlightenment, right? And this seven factors of enlightenment is crucial for our spiritual development and our daily lives. So when we talk about all these very uh, difficult concepts in the Tripitaka and all, it seems very frightening. Seven factors of enlightenment, and then we don't know what it is. And then even if we know what it is, we feel that we cannot practice because it's just too high up there. So today I try to make it more, closer to home, closer to your own practice. You can, yeah. So out of respect, so we just close our eyes and just let the azan beautifully resound in the air. So we gain our mindfulness, regain it. So everybody's mind settled down. So it is the azan asar time, a time for peace and understanding. So we continue with the meditation today. So for those of you who have just joined us, welcome. So we are the topic of our meditation today is seven factors of enlightenment. So it's going to consist of short guided meditations on each of the factors, right? But before that, I would like to what they call that once again impress upon you that meditation is actually just coming back to oneself. When we heard natural sounds, we heard sounds over the loudspeaker, right? And we heard some sounds coming from a nearby community center which hosts weddings. So you hear all these different sounds, right? So then how does your mind relate to that sound? So what will happen when you hear multiple sounds? What happens when it feels hot? What happens when there's too much light? Too many stimuli? How can the human mind take all this? So it's all part and parcel of the seven factors of enlightenment that we are going to do today, right? There's a lot of discomfort that you will feel when meditation, because that's normal. The mind always wants to resist. Number one, I would like to impress upon you is like this. When anyone sits to meditate, the mind will resist. When we sit to eat, the mind will be very happy. When we sit to do other things in samsara, the mind is extremely happy because the mind, the ego, the ignorance wants to manifest itself and stay there forever and ever. So it will do things that will inflate the ego and satiate our five senses. So whatever there's anything to do with the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and also memories, the mind, mental realm, we think about good things, happiness, and all these kinds of things. So all these things are basically very tantalizing, and that's what the mind likes to do. So that's why we say whenever as anybody starts a dharma talk, you fall asleep because that time your ego cannot manifest. And where it cannot manifest, it gets bored and it tries to pull you away. So where the ego can manifest through the five senses, right? And that's where you are the brightest, especially when it comes to a nice makan. Like we all had a lovely makan just now. All of us were so bright. But after the makan, I see all of us are so down. So now just remember that the mind will resist. The mind will resist because that is the nature of samsara also. Samsara, the mind in its natural essence is in harmony with nature. So we are off balance. We are off balance because how we are off balance? Because every day we are, not actually really doing our home cleansing of our minds. So then sometimes we become too polluted with a lot of thoughts. So what we do most of the time is thinking, overthinking, thinking, and then when we think, we either go to the past, we go to the future, like something or dislike something. So there we are in this realm where we are always chasing after something. We always need to hook ourselves on something. So the moment the grasping starts to occur, the moment you want to do something and not be, you want to do, the moment you become a doer, you go off balance. So you see, nature. You just look at nature. Which element of nature is actually like grasping? The plants are just there, just being, right? Right. So it is the human beings that are doing and grasping, and therefore we are off balance, right? So the wind does its work. The sun shines equally. The wind also, according to causes and conditions, atmospheric pressure, all these things. Everything is in a state of harmony until human beings come. And through our negative minds, we cause disharmony in nature. And why is there disharmony actually nature itself is harmonious. The disharmony starts in the mind. So this is what the Buddha taught, that the Four Noble Truths is the noble truth of disharmony. It's not the noble truth of suffering alone. Right? Actually, we think about the Four Noble Truths as noble truth of suffering. And that actually sometimes doesn't really drive home the point. What the Buddha was actually trying to say is that we are off balance. So therefore, the first teaching in Sarnath, the first teaching of the Buddha, if you can remember, is called the middle way teaching. Middle way teaching, which means that, yesterday a colleague of mine during the university open day, we were discussing about emptiness. And we were discussing about the middle way. And there's so many ways of interpreting the middle way. So he asked me which one is correct. So I said, everything has its merit, But if you look at the original context of the middle way the Buddha taught is actually to refrain from overindulgence into the five senses, right? And also austerities. So it's like indulging and at the same time too much cutting off. It's like so between the asceticism, too much of or they call that straining of the body, and too much enjoying the body. So you go in the middle. So instead of doing going into two extremes of pleasure and also hurting the body, in order to, we call it tapasya in Sanskrit, which means that we do austerities in such a way we think that we get enlightenment by torturing our bodies, by going into the ice cold water, when our bodies cannot take it, hanging upside down from the tree, eating one grain per day until it become a skeleton. So this is the context, and this is very important because the Buddha was talking to the five ascetics who left him because he started eating milk rice offered by Sujata. So they thought that the Buddha was going into self-indulgence when they were actually doing self-mortification. So the moment the Buddha left self-mortification, immediately they placed him in the other end of the spectrum, which is self-indulgence. So human beings cannot be in harmony. We always like to think in extremes. So if the Siddhartha at that time, ascetic Gautama, Siddhartha stopped, self-mortification. So what happens is that he must have gone to the other extreme direction of self-indulgence. So we cannot actually think somewhere in the middle. So it's either black or white, short or long, tall and short, something like that, not fat and thin, these kinds of things. So we don't have those gray areas. So the teaching of the Four Noble Truths is that try to, refrain and then shirk off this dualistic mind. So human mind is actually dualistic. We always are divided into left and right, tall, short, right and wrong, good and bad. So we are quite extreme. So the teaching of the middle way is actually coming to the middle, harmony, balance, So that is why the Four Noble Truths in Sarnath, the Buddha taught, was actually in relation to this self-indulgence and self-modification. That's number one. And another way of looking at it, it's actually, you can say that it's the first noble truth is the noble truth of disharmony. And where there is disharmony, then you have got to bring back the harmony. So the disharmony is when you're going too much to the grabbing. And then the disharmony is when you're going too much to the pushing. The disharmony occurs when your mind goes into the past. This harmony occurs when the mind goes into the future. So actually, the human mind is meant to be actually centered in your central channel in the bindu, resting in the bindu in the central channel, right? In your heart chakra. So that's where actually we are meant to be. And that's where our actual balance is there. So you look at everything in the world also. So if you ask where is the center of the world? So the center of the world is where? So you won't say that the center of the world is in Russia or somewhere. So the planet Earth is on the axis. So where is the center of the world? We will say it's the equator, in a way, roughly, right? Because that's where you get 12 hours sunlight, 12 hours darkness. So it's balance. So we are close to the equator, so you can see that our daylight and our darkness, nighttime is balanced. So this is actually a very good place. This land that we live in is a very good place to practice balance. Because my students who came from other countries, 2 days ago we had a small little Vesak open house, few students, So they came in and they said, "Oh, Dr. Karma, Malaysia is so easy to do fasting," because my students are Muslim. They said, "Why?" Because 12 hours only. We just need to like suffer for half a day. But if you are in Norway or something, you suffer like 19 hours of of fasting. It's like really difficult. So you see, so naturally, we are blessed to be born in this country, or at least to be in this country, where even the foreign students come and tell us that this is the best place to fast. So which means that this place is something, yeah. So we take it for granted, lah, right? So that's where we can start achieving this through this 12 hours. 12 hours is already a balance. So naturally, there's already a balance, and we have rainfall, and also we have dry season, also balance. Not too long a drought, not too long rainfall, except for a little bit of climate change. We can see patterns changing, but basically, the country is in balance, right? So what causes this imbalance? So where does imbalance come from? So the first noble truth, I call it in my I coined the term noble truth of imbalance. Yeah. So why is because when we start manifesting our dualistic tendencies, we like, we dislike, go to the past, go to the future. So we are fragmented. So when we are fragmented, we are all over the place. So we cannot remain in the middle, right? So like we are in the middle of the equator. So we are actually almost near the equator. So we are balanced. So now try to find the equator in your heart center, in your body. Where is the equator? Where is the center of balance? Mm. So, but do you feel it? Do we know it experientially, or do we know it theoretically? Yeah. So now meditation, like the seven factors of enlightenment that I'm about to share, is actually going back and trying to rediscover this, trying to get that balance, right? So now let me expound in a different way, share my understanding of the noble truth, four noble truths of imbalance. So the first one is that life is not balanced. Okay, because we like something, sometimes we dislike something. So we are not, sometimes we are angry, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are peaceful, sometimes we are wrathful, sometimes we are patient, sometimes we are impatient. We all have this everything comes in two pairs, like dislike, you know so that is the imbalance. So where does the imbalance occur? The imbalance is occurring in the mind. So the second noble truth of imbalance is, what is the root cause of imbalance? Who knows? The mind. So where is it? Where is the fault? So where did we go off balance too much thinking. And where does the thinking go? So 1 minute, you just rest and see. In this 1 minute, close your eyes and then look at your mind and explore the noble truth of imbalance. So the noble truth of imbalance. So the balance, let me tell you what balance is. Balance is that when you can truly be in the center of your being, you rest in your true nature of mind. That means you're resting in the center, meaning there is no past, no future, no like, no dislike, no pushing, no pulling, no grasping, no pushing. So no attachment, no aversion, like this. So now, suddenly a thought might come, and the thought might be going to the past or going to the future, or suddenly the thought will come and say that I like this, or I don't like this sound, or I like this sound, or it's just too hot, it's just too cold. When beings like us, our minds start to manifest likes and dislikes, we are already off balance. When the mind is going to the past and the future, we are already off balance. When we have enemy and friend, off balance. Pleasure and pain, off balance. Yeah, and then gain and loss, off balance. Right. So this, if you can recall the Buddha's teaching of the eight worldly concerns, what are they? Loss and gain, and then fame and unfame. Okay, gain and loss, and then praise and blame. Right. So all these are dichotomies. So these are like two things. So it's like everything is going in pairs, right? So does it have to be like do we have to succumb to praise and blame? So when somebody praises us, we are very smug and happy. And when somebody blames us, we are very sad. So we go into sad, happiness, pain, pleasure. So all the time our minds are like, so that is the meaning of imbalance. And the root cause is this ignorant mind. So this ignorant mind that is manifesting, the ignorant mind's manifestation is duality. Why? Because the ignorant mind tells you that there is an I. And because there is an I, there must be a mind. And because there is a mind, so the mind means I must get something. When you want to get something, you grasp. And when you don't get something, you push. So that pushing and pulling, that dualism, the basic duality of the mind through attachment, which means that the loba, and then the aversion, which is the dosa, is rooted in your moha. And the moha is actually, go a little bit deeper, is ignorance, avidya, right? So this ignorance fabricates this self, and then once you think that, oh, that is me, fully existing I, that is independent of everything, permanent, and not made up of parts. So when this I start to manifest, 100% you will start to have the mind, me, my mind. So you like this, you don't like that. So the three poisons in Buddhism, we say, loba, dosa, moha. Actually, it comes first from moha. Then the moha becomes loba. And then because once you cannot get something, then it turns to dosa. So that's where in the Tibetan tankas we have this wheel of samsara, the bhava chakra. You see these three animals, the pig, the it's ignorance, and then the rooster is the attachment, and then the snake is the hatred. So they are like all going round and round and round, and it's this round and round and round that causes disharmony in the mind. So where is the root cause of the noble truth of imbalance? The cause of imbalance is none other than because we have ignorance, and it's this ignorance that causes our mind to split into two, like, dislike, past, future, praise, blame, all these things. So then gone off balance, black, white. So then the third noble truth of imbalance. So imbalance feels good or doesn't feel good. If it feels good, then it should be happiness. It shouldn't be suffering, right? So imbalance, if you don't get something, is suffering. If you dislike something, is also suffering, right? Praise also in a way is suffering. Blame also is suffering. Everything actually, because praise doesn't last, so in the end, if you crave for it, you suffer. And then blame is painful. So everything actually causes us to have dissatisfactoriness. So therefore, imbalance. Correct? So then the third one, they say that the third noble truth says that you can correct the imbalance. So imbalance can be corrected. And then the fourth noble truth tells you how to correct the imbalance through the Noble Eightfold Path. So Noble Eightfold Path, we summarize it like this: through Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, right? So in Sanskrit, we call it Shil, Samadhi, Pragya. So which means in English, we say it is ethics at the bottom, Samadhi, which is our concentration, and then top is wisdom. So it's, if you can imagine, like a stupa, So the bottom is the foundation, is always ethical discipline. No discipline, no spiritual attainment, right? And then you go up a little bit, no, but got discipline, no concentration, no wisdom. So you have both, then you can actually, gain wisdom. But all this must be practiced together. There is not step by step, it's actually together, right? So with this, I would like to start the class now. I wanted to tell you, on Vesak morning, I started, I wanted to actually record this teaching and put it on Vesak morning, but Vesak morning, as you know, is very busy. And then Vesak morning, after my morning meditation, I came and then I came down, and then I was thinking, in my meditation, what topic should I choose for Vesak? And when I came down, I put on some YouTube chanting, because it's Vesak, right? So that was about like 7 a.m. on Vesak morning. And then suddenly, out of the blue, this Bhojjhaṅga Paritta sprang up. So it's like the moment I manifest the thought, what should I share? Then suddenly I asked the Buddha, what should I share, after I did the offering and all. And then the Buddha, the universe speaks. So this one directly is coming. I truly believe that the universe has said that share the Bhojjhaṅga, what they call that, the 7 Factors of Enlightenment. So it is, but that was the Paritta that I heard. So Paritta is actually chants of protection. So the reason why I wanted to also share this meditation with you is because in the past, the story is very interesting. The benefit of this teaching, actually, when this teaching was recited to monks, they were cured. So the first patient on the list was Venerable Mahakashyapa. So he was sick, and then the Buddha asked Ananda to recite for Venerable Mahakashyapa, and then he immediately became better, right? And then second time, Venerable Moggallana, which was one of the two foremost disciples of the Buddha, right? So he was sick also. Again, the Buddha said, chant this Bhojjhaṅga Paritta. So then he became okay. And then the third one, the Buddha himself. Yeah, so don't think that the Buddha, as long as you have a human body, you still will fall sick, right? So the Buddha was, manifested some sickness. And then after that, Venerable Chunda was asked by the Sangha to chant the Paritta. And immediately the Buddha also became well. So this, I believe that it goes in line with correcting the disharmony through healing, through the and why we can heal through this Bhojjhaṅga Paritta and other Parittas like Ratana Sutta and many other great sayings of great masters, is because of the element of Satya. Satya means the truth. So by the power of this truth, may there be well-being, and it is the same thing in Ratana Sutta also. Etena Satyena Suvati Hotu. So which means that by the power of this truth, may there be well-being. And therefore, when we are keeping our precepts, one of the most important precepts to keep is to tell the truth. So and all the 5 precepts are actually are also manifestations of to stop us from manifesting the untruth. So killing is actually going against the harmony of the world, right? Stealing is going against the harmony of the world. And then having relations with people who are not supposed to be our physical partners, also off balance, right? And then also telling lies, off balance, harsh speech, gossiping, yeah, and then idle talk. All these things are making a person indulge and bringing you away from the center of your mind. When you kill, you're not only taking the life of that person, but you're also punishing yourself, and you are not able to sit in your own true nature of mind because of guilt. So, and because of the heavy negative karma, it will always bring you away. Always bring you away. So, if you learn how to keep the 5 precepts at least, so then you are manifesting this what? Balance. So, today we are going to go on a journey of rebalancing, like the tire. It's like a workshop now. All of you have brought your cars, so now we're going to do alignment, okay, for free. So, we are going to chant. So Venerable and I, we will do the chanting in Tibetan. So we are going to take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. With all our hearts, we thank the Buddha. We remember the Buddha because this is still Vesak season. Also, of course, we remember the Buddha every day. But especially now, because this is the Vesak season, our minds naturally turn to the Buddha in gratitude, and we are naturally inspired because of the power of the month of Vesak. So we are going to chant the 3 refuges and also the 4 immeasurables in Tibetan. So if you can, please visualize that you are taking refuge in the Buddha. For those Mahayana practitioners, you can take refuge in more than one Buddha, many, many manifestations of Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. For Tibetan Buddhist practitioners, take refuge in the Gurus also. So it's the Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and also the meditational deities, the Ishta Devata, the Yidams, Dakinis, heroes, heroines, and all who aid our practice. And at the deepest level, we take refuge in our own Buddha nature, our true nature of mind. So we visualize the Buddha, the Dhamma in the form of texts, and then also the Sangha, we can visualize all of them in front of us. And then our parents of this life, whether they are alive or they have passed away, the mother of this life is on the left, the father of this life is on the right hand side, and then all sentient beings of the 6 realms, those who are born in the hell, those who are in the Preta realm, the hungry ghost realm, animals, yeah, so much of suffering, whether they are in the air, on land, yeah, in the water, wherever they are, all animals and all human beings in the whole world, and all asuras, all devas, and all antarabhava beings, who have not yet taken rebirth, but who are, still lost in between rebirths. So we recall them to mind in human form. Everybody is behind us, and we are going to take refuge on behalf of all our kind mother sentient beings, because every sentient being has been our mother, father, brother, sister in the past. So we have been born before many, many times, and the reason we are here today connected is also we have met each other before in the past, and it's just meeting again in this life. And in this life, may we make our connections auspicious so that we get to progress on the path of Dharma. And also, whoever hears our voices, whoever who feels our vibes, think about us, may all of them be connected to the Dharma. Let us take refuge in this way. Sangye Choedron Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Chap Suji Dagi Jin Sogi Peshu Nam Ki Drola Pinchir Sangi Druparsho Sangye Choedron Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Chap Suchi Dagi Jin Sogi Peshu Nam Ki Drola Pinchir Sangi Druparsho Sangye Choedron Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Chap Suchi Dagi jin sogi besu nam ki drola pinchir sangi drupadasho. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, until my purified and perfect state, I and all my kind mother sentient beings as vast as the skies go for refuge to the Gurus, go for refuge to the Buddha, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Arya Sangha from the merits accrued by practicing generosity, morality, patience, effort, concentration, and wisdom. May I become a fully enlightened being, a Buddha, to benefit numberless sentient beings. Semche tamche dewa dan deve jodan den pare juruji dunga dan dunga gi jodan da ware juruji dunga me pe dewa dan pa da me da ware juruji Nirin chada nida da we tanyom chen pola ne pare juruji Semche tamche dewa dan deve jodan den pare juruji dunga dan dunga gi jodan da ware juruji Dunge me pe dewa dampa dame dawara juruji. Nirin chada nida dawe tanyom chen pola ne pare juruji. Semchen tamche dewa dan deve